I think we're getting a little feedback from somebody.
It was probably me, sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for logging in and joining. My name's Chase Tyndall. For those of you that don't know me, I'm manager of Ardmore Municipal and Ardmore Downtown Executive Airports. And I'm also the committee chair for the OCAP program, which is a new program that we're trying to get going this year. It's the Oklahoma Certified Airport Professional. That committee is going to be in charge of not only these continuing training sessions, which we're planning on holding monthly over various airport topics. We'll also be developing a professional certification program as well for those airport managers and industry partners that have that desire. So with us today is Adam Fox, airport manager of El Reno Regional Airport, and he's going to be talking to us today about hosting fly-in. So Adam, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Chase, thank you so much. I just want to start out by saying that, you know, the overall goal of this program, I think, is excellent, because I think there are lots of people, not only within the state of Oklahoma, that are in the airport world that you know, may not know exactly all the different things that are out there, you know, the resources, the different things that they can do to kind of help develop the airport and their community at the same time. So I think this is an excellent program for the state of Oklahoma and our airport managers throughout the state. All you know very well that aviation is such a big part of the state's economic growth, economic portion of the state. You know, the second largest industry is aviation airspace, and so that's big stuff. So today, I hate that you guys have to listen to me about how to advance your airport through a fly-in, because this is your first thing, your first event or first lesson, and I wish that it was somebody with much more experience than myself, but nevertheless, here we are, and we'll get through it. Today, really what I wanted to do was kind of touch on some of this stuff at a 10,000-foot view. You know, a lot of this stuff, I will get in the weeds with some of you guys, put you in contact with a lot of it when it comes to fly-in, air shows and whatnot. But first things first, Lance, could you possibly put up the slides for everyone to see? Do you have that readily available?
Give me just a second and I will.
Thank you. So instead of seeing my face and just have to listen to me, I thought I would have something there for you to actually look at, and a visual representation of a little bit of what happened out here on August 22nd.
Adam, when did you send that?
I can actually send it right now if you'd like. I apologize.
Yes, go ahead and send it again, please.
Let's see here. I actually shared it on a share drive with you. Give me 1 second. Technical issues here, sorry.
Welcome to Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Okay, Lance, that should be there with you now.
Okay.
So I hope everyone has power now. I got mine back. I think it was about 8 o'clock day before yesterday, and so that brings on a lot of different challenges trying to get Pappies back up and going, because those $26 lamps glow every time you look at them, and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys have got all that straightened out by now. Sorry about that.
Sounds like your power might be struggling there, Adam. It sounds some electricity.
No, that was actually a text message coming in. A good text message, though. It's about hangar rent. And renting the new T hangar we have over here in El Reno.
Adam, I'm having problems here. It's not letting me pull it up. Grayson,
Well,
I'm going to send this. Grayson, I'm going to send this to you. See if you can't pull it up.
Okay.
If that doesn't work, then we'll just move on without it.
Adam, you might start off by telling them how you really came about with the idea of having a fly-in, given that you were
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. So a little bit about El Reno, just to kick things off. So El Reno has been in a somewhat difficult position for quite a while. It's just outside of the metro, basically 20-25 miles as the crow flies from downtown Oklahoma City, but yet it was struggling really hard. I actually saw this opportunity as basically, as far as the airport manager goes, this is the blank canvas, and I make the joke often that it's the blank canvas and I'm Bob Ross. One paint stroke at a time will create a beautiful portrait out here. Well, with that being said, you kind of put your nose to the grind wheel and you kind of try to think through, well, how do I actually accomplish that? Well, one thing that we had when I come over here was a very nice fuel system, but you have a nice fuel system. You get a lot of pilots that are kind of stuck in their ways. They're used to going to, XYZ airport, and how do you break them of that tradition? Well, first you just got to get them to your facility and let them look at what you have available. And then once they kind of try it, you build it, they will come. Well, that's just one thing to kind of speed up the process. So I decided to host a fly-in so that I could get pilots throughout the state. We actually had multiple states or multiple pilots from different surrounding states fly in. That was unexpected. But really, it was just something to get folks in the metro and throughout Oklahoma over to El Reno so they can see the new fuel system. They can understand kind of the overall direction of where we're trying to take the airport. So with that being said, today what I wanted to do was discuss several different topics with you. Why try to grow your airport was one topic that I kind of want to touch on. What fly-ins have to offer for your airport, fly-ins and the FAA, how does that kind of mix? How do you accomplish that to make sure you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's? How to put an aviation event together, whether that's a fly-in, air show, just a little bit of, again, 10,000-foot view of how that actually works. Some resources to use, and then, we'll kind of wrap it up with a conclusion. So first and foremost, why try to grow your airport? Well, basically, it helps your community. It helps your city. It helps the industry. Your airport becomes a job creator, if you will. You're creating jobs at the airport for people to go out and pay for, their lives, pay for their kids, pay for all that stuff, and it just creates an overall economic engine at your airport. So you're basically just creating a big picture economic development in your community. This is something that is difficult to do. There's no right answer as far as growing your airport. There are many different ways of doing that. There's not a certain book or Bible out there that says if you do this, you will accomplish X, Y, and Z. It's definitely a rigid road to get to that point. But I'm hoping that this topic will show you or shed light on one way to actually accomplish that. So basically, what does a fly-in have to offer? Well, I kind of mentioned that a little bit. Community support. If nothing else, community support. You get your if you have, for us, we have an air park authority, Ardmore, they've got, their development authority, different things like that. Well, you are getting them out there. They may not know that much about aviation, but during that day, you are hoping that your event will shed some light on why the airport is important. It's also really great to get your aviation family out there, get support from them. You're showing them your facilities, like I mentioned earlier, and you're bringing general awareness to not only your airport, but also the aviation industry. So, like, for example, this would be a perfect opportunity to have your representatives and your senator out there, whether if it's state or congressional. Unfortunately, with mine, with everything going on with COVID, it was very difficult to get those folks committed to coming out. But hopefully, your event, if you decide to do one, will have a little bit better luck in that aspect. And then another thing about fly-ins, what it has to offer is just economic development. You're showing off your hangars. If you have a hangar that's available, have it open. Folks are looking at that. Maybe they decide to actually pull the trigger and move to your airport instead of the neighboring one, or maybe that out-of-state folk that decides that, I do business there, but I just fly in. Maybe I'd like a place to actually park my plane and take your courtesy car to go do my business. Maybe that's the better method. And then also, fuel sales, economic development that way. You're selling a lot of fuel. And obviously, that's a good thing for your airport, right? So another thing to kind of touch on a little bit is the big topic, I would say, is fly-ins and the FAA. How do they mix? Well, I'll tell you, it's something that you want to start as early as possible. The second you think and have a solid plan, kind of on paper of what you would like to see. Call the FSDO. Get the FSDO involved early. AC 91-45 C that talks about the waivers and aviation events. What is an aviation event? Well, an aviation event is anything from a fly-in where you have static displays. The static displays, get in the weeds on that a little bit more. They do not require any sort of waivers, airspace waivers, or anything like that. But if you get into the acrobats and you get into all that, you're going to have to get a waiver from the FAA. The FSDO would be more than happy, and I'm more than happy to help you and put you in contact with those kind of folks if you're looking to do a little bit of aerial demonstration beyond the normal flying in, and I would be more than happy to help with that. Another document or another website, if you will, is FSIMS. That's FSIMS SIMS.FAA.gov. That is kind of what under 8900.1, that is pretty much what the FAA uses on their method or procedure of getting you squared away with any waivers or anything like that you need. And of course, that's published. You can actually go and look at those documents, and I would be more than happy to share that with you as well. Airspace waivers. It's something that you need to basically start if you're looking to do any sort of aerial demonstration. 120 days out from your event is what is recommended with the FAA. That gives you the allotted time that you can, satisfy all their requirements and get the waiver in plenty of time. Also, I'd like to stress that you need to get them involved early. I did not get them involved early enough with mine. So that is just something, you do something like this and you learn a lot from it. Well, that was one of the big things that I learned through all of this. And, mine, everybody was just itching to get out and do something. What I wanted was just a bunch of static displays. And, the FAA was, it's very simple when it comes to that kind of stuff. And the FAA was just fine with that. I invited the FAA out. It was just an overall, great event to kind of really advance your reach as far as professionals in the industry. It's really good to have friends in high places, if you will. So that was another plus and benefit from that. But yeah, just get them involved early. Contact them, and they'll walk you through all of it. I would say that it is a lengthy process, but it is not a process that is too overbearing or something that you can't accomplish. I'm pretty sure all of us airport managers could accomplish the process. So the next little subtopic here is how to put an aviation event together. Again, there's no really right answer to that, but let me tell you, it is fun doing it, but it is also pretty stressful, especially with me. I'm a one-man show. Thankfully, I've got, great friends in the state of Oklahoma, Lance, Foster, and Kylie May, and all those folks come out here to help me. I would say that one of the biggest takeaways for me personally is more volunteers. You've got to have volunteers for every part of it that day. A lot of it come on my shoulders to run around and make sure everything was running smoothly. And, we had basically 45 classic cars, 2,000 people, and 85 aircraft at El Reno Regional Airport August 22nd. It was outstanding, but a few more volunteers would, in my opinion, make it run a little more smoother. But anyways, there's a like I said, there's not one straight line answer to success on how to put an aviation event together, but there's a lot of different things that you can do, and that's one of them. The biggest one is reach out to your aviation resources. You have a lot of different resources at your disposal. Some of those could be the Oklahoma Pilot Association, OAC, the Aeronautics Commission, EAA chapters throughout the state. Reach out to those folks and ask them, tell them, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm trying to accomplish here. I would like for you to be involved in that. And most of the time they're ready to help. They're going to jump to, and they're going to ask exactly what they need to do to make the event successful. Sponsorships, that's another good way of getting that financial support. Don't be timid to ask for local businesses in the area, or maybe even aviation companies if you have some in your airport to participate. I know I did, and that's how I got a lot of different things during the event for free. Like, for instance, no one paid for bottles of water. We had a little bit of swag to give away, and then t-shirts for sale and stuff like that. And that was because of that sponsorship. Another thing is use your local resources, your community. Again, that's going to strengthen the bond between airport and your city. Sometimes, it's heartbreaking, but we see that airports are being the redheaded stepchild, if you will. And so this will help kind of smooth things over and get them just to understand what you're all about. Another great thing to do, especially if you have any special aircraft that are flying in for static display, let's get some media coverage. Kind of show the general public, what aviation is about, how important it is, the history of it, and just get them out there to understand it all. Because then when you go and you need something for, to grow your airport, whether if it's an OAC grant, FAA grant, the questions maybe have already been answered because they've been out to the airport and they can see kind of what's going on out there. So I would say definitely use as many resources as you possibly can. If there's any way at your events, if you decide to ever host one that I can help, definitely reach out to me, because I would love to help. Being in the position I was, I can definitely understand a few different things that I wish I would have done a little bit better, volunteers, resources, and such. In conclusion, I'd like to throw out a few different numbers. So when I first come here to the airport, we were basically selling about, I would say, anywhere from $550 to maybe $750 worth of fuel a week. Well, when I hosted this fly-in, that weekend alone, the airport sold $4,953 worth of Jet A and Av gas. it just blew up overnight. And since then, the fuel cells have been anywhere from 800 or 900 to 2,500 a week ever since that event. So I would say that the overall goal, my objective, if you will, for the fly-in was successful. You want to basically whatever your aviation event's trying to accomplish. Mine was to get folks out of the airport so they can see, the terminal building project that's going to be taking place next year, to understand that we are advancing the airport to better serve that pilot community, and also to get them to understand that the fuel system I have out here is easy to use and it's readily available and 24/7. And I think that I accomplished that just based on those numbers alone. It is exciting to do those kind of things. It is kind of tedious and it does take time to plan out, but it's not overbearing. And I would invite each and every one of you to have your own aviation events. Just send me an invite so that I can come. With that being said, I would open the floor to any questions, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Adam, I'll start off and ask a question, because I know you hit on a couple of the stumbling blocks, but what were some of the regulatory things that you stumbled upon that if you would have had more time, you could have made a different show, or not been as restricted there on the fly when FAA was there participating?
That is a great question. Okay, so when I contacted the FSDO, basically my team, if you will, here, we had basically one objective, and that is to have static displays out. That is to just get folks up and around airplanes in a safe manner, obviously, and get them, touching the airplanes, to offer free flights with the Young Eagles, and basically just have it as basic and as simple as possible. Now, the challenges that I run into is because I kept it stupid simple. I didn't have an airspace daddy, if you will, or an air boss, as some call it. I didn't have any of that kind of stuff to kind of help with the airspace. I would think that was the biggest challenge that I had the day of the event. We had a few pilots that, of course, everything, in my opinion, was in a safe manner, but they kind of did their own thing. And, even the FAA here, as an airport sponsor, airport manager, there was nothing that I really could do at that point in time because, I'm not in the plane with it. I'm not on the frequency telling them what to do and what not to do. So that's something that on a planning side of things, if you had more time, you would, try to get something like that established so that things are crisp and that everybody understands and knows what your objective is for the fly-in. Mine was primarily static displays, food trucks, and aviation vendors.
Adam, what was the one thing where you put this event on and as it's happening, you thought, I should have thought of that? What was that one, or maybe more than one, moment that came across you as you were hosting the event?
I would definitely say that it was multiple things, but the biggest thing, the most noteworthy thing, was aircraft parking. Lance, I think you understand that better than anybody, since you were boots on the ground helping me out, and I can't thank you enough. The event would have been even more chaotic, which, to be honest, I think everything went very smooth, and just FYI, I only had one upset pilot out of all the aircraft that we had here, 85 aircraft. I had one upset pilot, and he basically thought that his aircraft deserved to be front and center. And so anyways, I would say the aircraft parking, how to utilize your facility to maximize your apron space, to maximize the grass for those tailwheel draggers that can actually get in the grass, and other aircraft that can do that. I would say that really study hard on that. Even you may come to the realization that I did, that you didn't have enough volunteers. and you didn't utilize the space. But at the very beginning, you thought that you had plenty of volunteers and plenty of space. So just, I guess, a little more information. I plan to have about 95 to 97 aircraft parking spots, and I end up with 85 aircraft. That is a clinching moment of, if somebody else comes, what do I do, kind of thing. So yeah, that would probably be the number one thing that, as everything was happening, I would say that I should have done this differently.
Looks like we've got one question in the chat from Mike Richardson, asking if the event was FAA controlled. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, like I said, the FAA air boss, if you will, or aerospace daddy, as some I guess Hicks call it, like myself. But no, I did not do that. I did reach out to the Tracon at Will Rogers. You know, they were a big help. I've become friends with several of those folks now because of this event. But you know, they were aware of that. Again, you know, I actually forgot to mention that. Not only did I contact the FSDO, but also the Tracon, because it's also good to, you know, those air traffic controllers, to make them aware of what's going on. So yes, I did make them aware of it, of the events. Now, again, you know, I try to keep things as stupid simple as possible with this first annual fly-in. But yeah, I did not have an air boss whatsoever, so nobody kind of, excuse me, boots on ground controlling the airspace. But everything was very smooth. Most folks use ATC flight following into the aircraft, or into the airport. And then they use Unicom as they actually come into the airport. Now, I will say that with the traffic pattern, you know, everybody was using a normal traffic pattern. I did have NOTAMs out about the event, about the traffic pattern, and how I wanted everybody to fly. Basically, what I did is, you know, if you've never flown into here, if you don't scroll down and look at how the traffic pattern is set up, then, which happens a lot here, because 1735 is basically everything is to the east, and 1836 for the grass is you know, traffic patterns, everything's to the west. So I kind of put a NOTAM out for that, you know, the day prior, and everybody used that, and they saw that, and that helped out tremendously. Those folks really, you know, spaced out well, in my opinion. At one point, we did have, I believe, 6 or 7 aircraft in the pattern at one time, and I think that's what we had. You know, the most congestion was 6 or 7 aircraft at one time. But overall, I think it went smooth without it. But I would recommend, next year will have an air ball, so I would recommend that.
Adam, would you say you had a pretty trying to think how to say this, tie downs? Did everyone request tie downs? Did you have tie downs available for all the aircraft that you expected? Like, for instance, most of the airports, I've got quite a bit of apron space, but not a lot of actual tie downs. So is that a concern that people should keep in mind?
You know, I was very fortunate with the weather. You know, it is El Reno, and the wind blows here all the time. I mean, it is crazy here. Most of the time, though, it is right down the runway, so I'm very fortunate there. So as far as aircraft, I would say that most folks kind of, when they come to a fly-in or event, they are basically you know, kind of understanding the fact that you probably don't have tie downs for them. You know, I was parking aircraft, like helicopters in the grass, you know, tail draggers in the grass, a few other planes that were okay with parking in the grass. Park those there. So I didn't have tie downs for it. I did not have not a single complaint about that. I did use the apron space first. You know, I had 1 or 2 spots that were kind of, you know, designated for certain aircraft, like for instance the A-26 Lady Liberty out of Enid. I had that bird in front and center, and had that you know, kind of baby them, you know, with whatever they needed, you know, But besides that, no, no one actually requested anything, and I think it kind of went pretty smooth the way it did without that. So I think people kind of just understand when they come to an event like that they probably won't be tie downs.
Did you have any sponsors for the event or vendors like food trucks or anything?
Yeah, so I had vendors, a lot of the folks like the Oklahoma Pilot Association, my public library. I had basically a few other folks from the city out here. As far as food trucks, I had 5 food trucks total. I was supposed to have 6. One of them was a no-show, but I pretty much just tried to cover all the basis there. You got your coffee for in the morning for your coffee drinkers, you got your breakfast, then you got your barbecue and all that stuff for lunch, and then you got your snow cone and stuff like that for the kids and whatnot. And I would say that I had a pretty tough time because of COVID on getting sponsors and vendors. Now, as far as sponsors, I really relied upon those folks at the airport for that. Basically all I had to come out for my event was, I think it was $670 is what it cost me to have the event. Most of the other stuff was from sponsors. I raised right around $1,250. And that come from the 2 businesses that I have here, the airport advisory board, and then I personally donated a little bit as well. And so, yeah, I had sponsors, I had vendors, again, using those resources that are at your fingertips. And then, I got the city involved with those certain folks that wanted to get involved. Like, for instance, the library wanted to do STEM reading. I did have a NASA endorsed teacher out of El Reno Public Schools that wanted to do the event. They had to cancel the night before because they published something due to COVID that they couldn't do it. So yeah, there were ups and downs on that, but I would say that I had a pretty tough time due to COVID. But I think as we progress and get past this, things will be a lot easier for whoever wants to host one of their own.
Adam, it looks like we've got another question in the chat. Did you charge admission to the fly-in, and how did you advertise?
So the first part of that question broke up a little bit, but
admission to the fly-in.
Yeah, so I actually wanted this event to be absolutely free to the public because, again, my goal was to get the community out here, to get the pilots out here, and to basically make them aware of the direction we're taking the airport and what was already at the airport as of right then and there. So yeah, I did not require that. That is definitely an option. I know that a few others throughout the state have done that, and really it would be a good opportunity to kind of make the airport some money. Like, for instance, I said something about the t-shirts. Well, that t-shirt sales that I made here, well, that basically is going to fund my summer camp next year. And so all the proceeds for that went to my summer camp, and that's set aside for that. And so, yeah, if I had, admission fees or something like that for either the vendors or those people coming on or whatever you decide, I think that would be beneficial. But again, it's just, you got to look at what you're trying to accomplish. And what was the second part to that question?
How did you advertise for the event?
Okay, perfect. So community support. So we have a local newspaper here, and I use that resource so that I could put it in the paper. I've done that 2 or 3 times. The council meetings, I use that as a platform to talk about the event. And then social media. Social media, it has its great moments and it has its very bad moments. Well, for me with this event, I felt like it was really, really beneficial to be on social media. So I've got a Facebook page for the airport. It's, the El Reno Regional Airport Industrial Air Park. If you're not following it, go follow it. But I've got that. I've also got Instagram for the airport as well. And I just kind of post, day-to-day operations, kind of, update folks, and that reaches a certain demographic. But also, the day of the event, I made banners so that folks would see that. We have a billboard here in town. We made a flyer and a banner for that. One thing that I regret not doing, and of course, airport managers that are pilots, this will work out great for you, but flying around and posting your flyer at other airports. Fly in, talk to the airport manager, whoever it may be, and let them allow you to post a flyer on their bulletin board. And I did not do that. I wish I would have. I also advertised with the president of OPA, the Oklahoma Pilot Association. I would highly recommend getting involved with them, and I use that resource as well.
How did you think your out-of-state pilot found out about it?
Yeah, so that was by word of mouth. So we had pilots come from Texas, 2 or 3 different spots in Texas. We had one all the way from Arizona, and that was due to a business that I have here. I've got avionics shops, Aerovets. They, by word of mouth, told their buddies, and their buddies told buddies, and they brought aircraft over. I had some from Missouri as well, and of course, pretty sure I had one from Kansas. I didn't get to speak to that pilot though. But anyways, yeah, a lot of that honestly was by word of mouth. Again, I used the resources I had on the airport, those people that are more well connected than I am, those people that they do business. Again, it's going to benefit them as well. They get them to see their operations, see their business, their hangar, how they do things. And it also is just kind of a good time for them to sit and chat about the next project on their plane, and stuff like that. So I was very pleased to have those folks from out of state here.
Just to add, there's a good comment here in the chat. It says another option is to keep flyers at the FBO and hand them out as pilots come in to pay for fuel and whatnot, and then they can take them home to their home airports and share it with folks there. So that's a good comment. Anybody else have any questions?
I have one more. So beyond meeting your mission goal of increasing fuel flows, what would you say your favorite part of the fly-in was?
I would have to say, because this is kind of a passion of mine, it was seeing the kids around the airplanes and seeing them out and about at the airport. I got a little bit of a passion there for that. And, the young Eagles offering first flights, I think that was phenomenal. And those kids just kind of lit up, being out here and experiencing aviation. But the thing is, just like myself, it was one small aviation day for me that made me choose aviation as a career. My dad took me up in an airplane at the Florida Keys when I was 7 years old. I pitched a fit or something, or at least that's the story he told me, was I pitched a fit seeing an airplane fly, and since he flies all over the world, I just had to go up. Well, they paid for a flight, and I sat up there and pretended to fly. Come to find out, it was on autopilot the whole time. But that event made me circle all the way back to aviation. And so if you host a fly-in, hopefully that young person will circle all the way back, and then they will work in aviation airspace in the state of Oklahoma, because we need that workforce. And so that was tremendous seeing that day.
It looks like we got a question in the chat. Did you incentivize with any type of fuel discount for the event?
So, by the way, I'm running a special right now, an ice storm special. So get out here while the getting's good. So I, at that point in time, evaluated where I was in comparison to all the other airports around me. And I basically made the decision to basically remain where I was at. I think I was at $2.90 for avgas, and I was a lot cheaper for Jet A at that point in time. I just got the Jet A truck. I hadn't even gone through it completely like I wanted to, so I really didn't didn't do full service at all. I didn't really sell Jet A until the next day, to be honest with you. But yeah, I did not incentivize it, but that's definitely something that you could choose to do. And in the future, I will most likely do that as well.
Okay. Do we have any further questions? Oh, and Adam, if you wouldn't mind, could you tell everybody your email address, just so if anybody has any further questions, they want to reach out to you, and then I think either Lance or myself will follow up with an email as well with some details.
Absolutely. So my email is afox, that is AFOX, at cityofelreno.com. That's afox at cityofelreno.com. Yeah, and my cell is 405-708-0412. If anybody would like to contact me personally, shoot me a text or whatever, feel free to do so. Kind of an open door deal here. Any point in time you need anything, whether if it's answering questions for this or answering questions about any other topics, I would gladly help you out. If I do not know the answer, I'm pretty sure I know somebody that does. Yeah, thank you all for allowing me to talk about how to advance your airport through a fly-in. I hope that it was informational. I hope that it was enlightening. I hope that it kind of highlighted certain areas that could help you advance your airport through a similar event. Thank you guys so much.
Real quick, I posted your email in the chat. Would you verify that was correct?
I think I saw it pop up, and yes, it was correct. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Adam, well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and taking the time today to talk to us. A lot of good information. Grayson or Lance, do you guys have anything to add?
No, I'd just say thank you, Adam, for sharing some of your wise wisdom and words with us today. I'm sure we'll be calling upon you again. And thanks to everybody that joined us. And thank you to those that will be watching this recorded. If there's anything that you need out of the OAOA organization or the OCAP committee or any ideas you might have, we're always interested to hear them.
And I would agree with Grayson on that. Anything you need from OAOA, please let us know. Reach out. You can contact us off through the website or by emailing Jan Williams or myself. One final note before everyone leaves, we let you go. There is a survey in the chat. I will also email out a survey here in just a minute. Please take time to fill this out. This was our first OCAP training session or information session. So as expected, there were a little bit of problems, but we want to know what you think. We want to know what we can do better and what topics you want to see in the future. So take time to fill that out for us. And other than that, I think we're good to go.
Everybody enjoy your Wednesday.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.